Hi, I'm Alex,
And I'm Julius.
and we have created Vallan, which is made to be the voice between the newest AI technologies and business owners who want to leverage AI for their companies.
And we're providing a bespoke service and hope to work side along medium-sized businesses to solve some of their back-end problems that are taking up a lot of their time.
And for the first 5 clients, we're going to do everything complimentary to prove how powerful AI is. We look forward to working with you. Let's have a chat.
I don't have to introduce myself because you know I'm Nazi, Darcy's residential director. I asked the handsome young gentleman over here to come and explain exactly what AI is because I think it will be very beneficial to our business and they're going to help us to understand and do better and expand and I become more famous than I am. This is Harris.
Hi. We basically do the back end accounting and finances for Darcy. We're called Adelaide Jones. We're also a firm of chartered surveyors based in Marylebone.
Sort of what got us into the sphere of technology and these more high-tech solutions is we were both at university and there's this big sort of uprising of all these large language model tools that people are using. And we just found there's an obvious opportunity for businesses, initially, medium-sized businesses, to sort of onboard these tools, particularly with people who don't really want to be tech savvy. It's quite frustrating to figure out how all these tools work, and we just found ourselves using them day to day, 12 hours a day. So we just thought it'd be quite fulfilling to see if we can find other people to work with. And we wanted to start initially with just a few businesses so we can give a lot of attention to few people. I think we both agree that that's the best way to start, really. And as Alex alluded to, your content's very vibrant, so far we think our intuition is correct, but this meeting will tell. Yeah.
So expand and explain to me exactly what it is because I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And as you said, I'm not a very tech savvy.
Yeah. So the very, very broad brush is there are a whole suite of new AI technologies that are coming out now every week. And it's impossible to stay up to date unless you have, a dedicated tech team or an advisory that is doing that. There are, on the other side, a bunch of business owners that we believe are in the sort of SME to medium-sized corporations who can't quite access the elite levels of tech team and AI consultancies that are putting companies right on the forefront. And we want to position ourselves as a voice between the newest state-of-the-art technologies and business owners who, are either left in the dark or don't quite know where to start, right?
And so, sort of to be more specific, there are 2 primary problems we've solved so far. One is with businesses like yourself, where they have the sort of customer-facing aspect of the business and all the back-end administrative stuff, which from our understanding takes up a lot of time, which would be much better spent faced towards the customer. So, we've built agents that sound exactly like humans, and people are skeptical because generally, non-human agents sound robotic, and it's a terrible experience. But in the past 6 months, there has been this huge technological revolution, where you cannot tell the difference. And so we've focused on the sort of businesses talking to maybe in your case, to plumbers, to service people, where you can automate those calls. Now, another problem we've been focusing on is to do with LinkedIn. In fact, we've called it, what do we call it?
We've called it Commune.
Yeah, it's called Commune, which is where you have a medium-sized business looking for more customers, but they're not fully taking advantage of their network on LinkedIn. So we've built a technology that essentially goes through your entire list of LinkedIn and ranks them, from 1 to whatever, of who would be best to speak to. And we evaluate this by comparing your business in a sort of in-depth, analysis with all the other businesses. But you don't really want to deal with a long list. Generally, it's the first 5 businesses, top of the list, that are most worth speaking to. But in part, what we wanted to speak to you about is to understand, if any of these problems are even relevant to you. We're trying to get better insight into your industry, your business, and see what's going really well and what's maybe frustrating to you that we could potentially just help out with.
the most frustrating thing is that as far as the social media is to get the clients. I don't want to pay to, get the clients or get the followers or get all those things. And I want the followers or the clients who come to me, they really have that trust that they want to speak to me, not just because I'm, on camera, etc., etc. So as I explained to you, our business is more word of mouth. So if you do well, the next building will come to you and the next building will come to you. But as I explained as well, until I came onto social media, nobody knew what I was doing, because you go for all these lunches and dinners, etc., etc. You say what you do, you say property management, but they don't really know that you're dealing with the plumbers.
Can I ask how long ago you got onto Instagram?
I think it's almost a year and a half, but I wasn't really active. I did it for fun.
Okay.
I think it's a year and a half, because that's where we
Sounds
met
about
at
right.
Alford House, right? And that's how it started. It was really as just to see where this will take us.
Yeah.
And then I started, and then everybody said, you're a natural, carry on, don't stop. And I was thinking, I can't be bothered. And nobody knows that how much, time it takes. For us, it's okay, because Amelia, who's behind the camera, she comes, we go around for 2 hours. That's why I'm always wearing the same clothes in 5, clips. And, because I don't have the time to, do all this. And I don't have the contents, and I don't know what we're going to discuss, etc., etc. So where you can come in, as you said, I think this LinkedIn is fantastic.
Yeah.
If you can approach, the clientele on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, not the clientele, the connections that I have on LinkedIn, it's great.
Yeah.
So you can sell our business, and you can to say that they have a joint venture. Darcy does the property management, and Adelaide Jones carries out all the surveying and the financial side of it. So that's a good combination as far as I'm concerned. What you can offer over there with LinkedIn. I don't know how else you can help us with getting the clients, or how. One other thing that I started doing, by the way, this is people to understand what residential building management is. How much work it takes, how much it entails, and you said that an AI to speak to the plumber. I think it's great, but when they see me, the plumber is frightened of me, because it is instead of an AI
They
coming.
don't mess around.
I've dealt with plumbers in my mum's. She has a house in Knightsbridge, and I only understand a small fraction of how frustrating it can be to try to fix something.
Exactly, and making an appointments, and when surveyors want to go on site, that's another thing that you can, because it takes a lot of time. Like surveyor wants, they want to go on site to do a reinstatement valuation. They need to go and check all the flats to do their valuation. Making appointments with all these, lessees, the time that it takes for you to answer all those emails.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that
I think
is
absolutely
frustrating.
that was one of the main sort of points we wanted to bring up. Is the old wave of AI was generative, where you ask ChatGPT a question, it'll give you a response. The new wave that is right on our doorstep are these things called, Julius has mentioned, AI agents, that are real, genuine digital beings that you can give a task and they accomplish it, and you guide it as you would an employee.
Which is very well placed for things like email. It's well placed for managing a sort of complex system like
Yeah.
you're having to handle.
Communication, appointment
Exactly.
setting.
Exactly,
things
it's
like
the
this.
appointment setting.
I sort of think in terms of where to move forward, it's best that we focus on one specific thing. If anything, to gain trust. You want to know that we're competent enough to follow through on what we're claiming to follow through. So maybe the best place to start would be to do with outreach you had mentioned, or administrative. You can decide. But I think if we agree on something quite specific, our job then is to build it as quickly as possible, see if it actually works, and then I suppose we can talk from there.
And to make it clear, we should have mentioned at the beginning, it is so broad that whatever we build is totally bespoke to the exact problem, right? And so if you come up with a problem that you have, such as you've just mentioned, that you'd want to give an employee, let's say you made an exact hiring post on LinkedIn to hire a person to fix that issue, the details of that hiring, that post, right, we can create a digital employee that will do exactly that. Whether it's engaging dissatisfied customers on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, in the comments section, an agent can do that. Whether it's reaching out to them personally, via email, initiating a conversation, an agent can do that.
And hold on, in answer to your specific question about how we've been doing it, we've been pulling up lists of your, it would be your primary LinkedIn connections, so I would assume it could be a few thousand, and ranking them according to who might be the best client. Although we've found through trial and error that oftentimes the best thing to do is to use your most loyal, already existing customers and go through their network, because they're high paying customers, they're linked into the network. And so they're likely to have at least some friends who are dissatisfied with their current property management service. But I'd be very open to, I'd like to speak some more, very open to saying what would be the best way to actually reach out, find the dissatisfied customers, reach out to them and offer your service, which would be better than whatever they're receiving.
And she said, why don't you, for the first 5 clients, you do everything complimentary. You prove.
That's the key. By the way, can you please record that? Complimentary.
Yeah.
Say that one
Key-
more time.
I'll be hitting him up.
Key difference. Key difference. Should mention this at the beginning.
You'll be glad to know you're the 6th client.
Cut.
Yeah. Time out.
Yeah.
We are reaching out for the first 5 clients to prove our value and prove our services complimentary, free of charge, to see what AI can really do for businesses locally. That is our mission. We are certain that there are a lot of people out there who can benefit from AI, but 1, don't know how to get involved, and 2, they might not be able to afford, the highest level of consultancy. We want to come in for the first 5 clients and really provide a lot of value, and we're certain off the back of that, beautiful things will come. That's how confident we are.
To think how your product or what you're building with AI agents could help save time or make efficiencies in our sort of day-to-day business
Absolutely.
activities.
Yeah, no, you're right. The way we'd approach it is if we start where you basically elicit as clear as you can what the real issue is. For example, is it connecting one piece of software to another? Is it a certain workflow? Is there a certain process of documentation, with a residence process that is so repetitive, where there's a software that isn't quite working for you guys? We can build a tool specifically to that issue.
But I mean,
it's all bespoke.
In the back end, what do you find the most frustrating thing?
I can give you a more specific example.
Yeah.
We do, for example, desktop valuations. These are where you don't actually physically go to the property.
Yeah.
They're usually for lending purposes, so the bank just needs to update their values. And we have sort of set templates, and it's really just a very quick exercise of adjusting certain figures within the template. You rely on older original valuation reports, and then it takes 20-30 minutes for somebody to manually input everything instead of just extracting data automatically.
That is exactly something
I've been looking for something in the AI universe, to solve that problem, and so far we haven't been able to sort of
and that involves what sort of is it form filling, or is just filling in this information that's already public? What exactly does that involve?
Yeah, I mean, it's doing an updated report, but it's based on it's a template we use. So, but we basically need to copy across from the previous reports in certain ways.
This is exactly the type of task you can build an agent for.
Sure. So even if there's like 50% of that job that can be done, admittedly, maybe the sourcing of comparables and stuff like that, there's you do need to do that manually by calling agents, estate agents, or going on lawn res and so on, and scraping that data for yourself. Whether the AI can help with that too, that would have other efficiencies for our business.
Absolutely.
For all across the different types of valuations we do.
100%.
And surveys.
If you start from a point of any inefficiency that you can think of, we can throw ourselves and our agentic capabilities behind it and see what we can come up with. The space is so new, the technologies are so new that we can be developing things constantly.
Now, presumably that would require us to come in and work alongside you just to get some basic information for us. What sort of things would you need to give us access to?
It would be a simple case of me sending you, let's say, 20 of these reports.
Okay.
With all the backup information.
Okay.
And seeing how you can.
Sure.
How you can.
Sure thing.
Sure. Okay.
I think the way to view it
that would be extremely valuable to my business. But it's going a little bit off tangent.
How many hours a week would you say collectively is spent on that?
Well, we typically do about 100 of these desktops every month.
Okay.
And we spend probably about 30 minutes on each one, where it could be a 5-minute job for each one.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a lot.
All right.
Well, look, guys, I think the way to think about it is, and I want to be very aware of your time this morning. I mean, if you want to do it now, you want to do it another time, a little bit more of the scope of work, so a little bit more detail on what we can base, our research on and the actual creation of the agent. The more context you give an AI, the better. Whether it's documents, whether it's, for example, I did this for my mother, the exact thing that you want. We, when a computer downloaded her whole connection base, we fed it into our agent, and then the agent starts adapting around what each of those people do, who they know, and then we start building the relevance base.
Do you know, I think it's very difficult for you to go on my LinkedIn, and because I've got like over 2,500, contacts. I don't think all of them are in property management or property business or anything like that, or any of them can be potential clients because they're all business, thing. How would you get clients? That is my question.
Well, I think I would have to ask a list of who are some of your.
No, go ahead. List of I was going to tell you before, in the old days, they used to go through the company house.
Yeah.
And if anything said, this is what I wanted to ask you. So you put the street name, right? Say Ennismore Gardens. It says 39 Ennismore Gardens Management Limited. So you know that is a management company that manages the service charges or the freehold of that building. How do you find the directors of that company?
Yeah, so we use
their email addresses.
I see.
So that is connected to LinkedIn because some of them are business people who are on LinkedIn. Yeah. So you have to join Company House and LinkedIn, and don't say these secrets of the business.
It's exactly what we did for you. That's exactly how we found you.
Yeah.
Exactly like this.
Yeah. So that's how you link the two, and then sending emails out.
Yeah.
Then we can send those emails out, or your agent, your AI agent can send the emails. You to give them the text and you send it. By the way, I love ChatGPT. I do everything. I do everything through that.
He's a great therapist too.
I'm honestly, I tell you something. Forget about the therapist. You ask any questions from them, any medical questions, you send it to them, and I don't understand, and it comes out. The doctor means X, Y, and Z, or anything that
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So I think if you know how to use it, because I don't know how to use it. I use it only for basic thing. If you can put the two together, and as you said, that's how you found us. I think we can. But then I don't want to be overwhelmed with a lot of clients if I don't have the people to.
The emphasis is not so much on the quantity. We find it's quite easy to get the phone number, get the email, know who the person is. The more tricky thing is evaluating: are they really the right person? Do they really need this?
Do I want them to be in Knightsbridge? It's the street names.
Absolutely.
The client. And the other thing is that if I get all these clients, then I would need that help from your AI to be able to speak to them, to make the appointments, to speak to the plumbers, to do all those things that.
Yeah, it's about creating a funnel and then identifying whether there's a need. Do these people
CRM funnel or whatever it's called? Yeah. Well, I think maybe we start with as quickly as possible. Solving the LinkedIn issue, giving you a list that you'd need some time just to meet up with, and then immediately moving on to the back end stuff. And once these clients start biting, then we can start building out a system to actually manage them. I think that would be.
And then if you build that system, I bet you that a lot of big companies, big building companies, would be interested because I think the only reason that the big companies, a lot of our clients complain about the bigger companies because they have 6,000 clients. Okay. but the
Very
manpower,
impersonal,
the person.
And what's lacking is the relationship management between.
The relation, and people like to be able to speak to people, a person as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is good. I mean, once we did one of the clips with President Trump speaking to me and saying, "Come and manage," the White House. They did a great job, but the voiceover wasn't still as great. But it helped. It did the trick.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to have an AI to make the appointments. But at the end of the day, they would like to meet me.
Yeah.
They like to discuss things with me, and if I don't answer them the same day, they get upset, and I'm saying, hang on, it takes 3 days, normally, but I do. And sometimes people are like, they call me at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm there.
Yeah.
So that's what they like. But I need that back office support. I need that AI agent to make all these, things happening. So my 5, 6, 7, employees can have a little more time to do the other things that needs human
we'll
touch.
start wearing t-shirts that say tech support. Okay, we look forward to working with you.
This is the frustration. And if you build a base, and I think all these big companies will take you on, because that's what they're missing.
And also just the feedback from you and being able to work alongside you is the ultimate value we can derive at this stage.
We'll help you out, and I'm sure they will benefit from it.
Posting letters through people's doors is getting a bit old and
really
outdated.
Yeah, very much.
We need to.
Some people don't like it.
But property is that it's kind of old school, isn't it?
It's old school.
It hasn't kind
this
of
is exactly
lifted.
true. And finance, to be honest, as well. We're honing in on, I think we're honing, the past few weeks, we're honing in on the real estate world and the finance world precisely because they're so ripe for this type of AI integration. It is confusing.
But don't forget the legal side of it. Some of these documents have to be posted. You have to show that you've posted it. So that hasn't still been upgraded. So, you can bypass some, but you have to legally do some as well. But HMRC is now, they're saying that they're cutting down on sending posts. They'll send that one. It's down to the thing. So I think they've realized how much they're spending on post. And
well, it's called human in the loop AI. It's when AI does everything, but you still need someone to verify it because the stakes are too high for the small mistakes. So I think that's where it would work.
He's been building agents and workflows for how long now?
Probably a year and a half, 2 years. I mean, sort of
a little bit longer than me. But we came together a couple months ago, after I left the health tech company, and he finished his term at university, and we're now in London together, and we're just honing in our powers and going to build it for other people. But the truth of agents specifically, we're not involved in large language models and that age of artificial intelligence. Agents specifically, I mean, 2 weeks ago, Google released a whole suite of tools that completely changed how agents behave, which put a whole bunch of old learnings and knowledge about how to build AI completely out the window. So
it's been about
every week
8 long weeks.
Yeah. Would you say that you're using existing technologies but then looking to apply them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
it's all a link. It's all a link of technologies. Okay. We link, the brain of our agents is ChatGPT.
And
it's just tuned in a certain way.
As they upgrade their company, whatever.
The knowledge base of, how Nazi works, her tone of voice, her client base, the name, the data is yours, You can't be giving this stuff away to a massive large language model.
But what is more important than the technology, which is ironic for me to say, is that these problems actually get solved and you have more time to spend on more important things.
That's the core goal. That's the core.
Yeah.
And it's I'm very happy. Which university did you go by?
I'm in Austin, Texas, and my friend's in
UCL.
Yeah.
UCL. You mean you went all the way to Texas?
All the way to America,
Good.
No.
I heard that. That's very IT. Good, Austin.
Yeah, that's what
After MIT,
Yeah, they're all these nerds,
They go there?
Yeah. I try to not look like a nerd, but
no, you don't know. I'm dyslexic, ADHD, ADAD, you name it, I've got it.
Between us, we have all the lists.
Seriously, I have all of them. That's why I speak fast. That's why nobody understands, and that's why I go crazy. So.
But that's probably that's your power, right? If you harness it, that's the power.
I don't know if it's power, but I think people think I'm weird.
Magnetic.
I don't.
Yeah.
Too many compliments.
That's not
Everybody
good.
loves me,
Yeah.
and they're scared.
Especially the plumbers.
Especially the plumbers.
They cower in the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
So that's good. So thank you very much for the gas. How did you know you have to get me a gas? Actually, it's one of my favorite of the Iranian sweets.
Well, Gaz specifically we didn't know, but we knew Iranian, and so we.
Is
And
it
you have a
pronounced
lot of
Gaz?
Iranian gas. Do you have a lot of Iranian friends?
Not a lot of them.
No.
No, not a lot. But we I think we called up one of them and we said go down the King's
The shop.
go down the
Get gas.
shop and get some gas.
You got the place.
Should have thought caviar, but it's okay.
Yeah, no, sure, right.
Well, look, when we start charging clients, we'll get caviar. That's how
Complimentary.
We'll bring it.
Do you
We'll
have
bring
any
it.
Iranian friends?
Sorry?
Do you have any Iranian
No, I
friends?
don't actually.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I can't say I have.
No,
any
I'm very
friends.
happy. You know,
Very
yeah, it's
small,
fine.
select group
Yeah,
of
Yeah,
people.
that's the way I roll.
We'll bring a Petrus next time and make sure it's.
Caviar. I'm trying to give up. I'm actually on tequilas now, not anything.
Oh, good. The healthiest of all
The
the
healthiest of all,
alcohols.
yeah.
Tequila
yeah,
intense.
What was it? Azul? Actually,
That's a lifestyle.
I've just
I like it.
started. Yeah. Are you in tequila as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's the best thing. So we'll have
Very
Christmas tequila shots when you make me famous.
Yeah.
You make me famous. I am famous already, but you can,
Yeah.
bring
I'll
me
make-
money
Absolutely.
with
I'll
my
make the
fame.
margaritas.
You do?
I am the best.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay then.
Bragging
Thank you
it.
guys.
Great to meet
Awesome.
you all.
Much guys for
Thank
having
you.
us around. We
Thank
look forward to helping you.
Thank you.
Prove
Yeah,
some
appreciate
value.
it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.